All right, so for this unit, we are going to be looking at volumes of prisms and cylinders. And for everything that we're going to be doing today, it's a very basic concept. We're going to find the area of the base and then multiply that by the height. And that's it. That's for every single thing we're going to do. Now, the hard part isn't, again, doing the work. It's identifying what side is the base. So, now, for rectangular prisms, because the area of the base is always length times width, and rectangular prisms are very common, our area of our base times our height would just be length times width times height. So, 1, 2, and 3 are just so very easy. Volume is 9 times 17 times 24. Volume is 10 times 14 times 4.5. Volume is 8 times 12 times 39. That's all you're going to do on each of those. You take the length, width, and height and just multiply them all together. So, 9 times 12 times 24, 2,592 centimeters cubed. 10 times 14 times 4.5, 630 inches cubed. 8 times 12 times 39, 3,744 feet cubed. So, again, volume is, especially for prisms and cylinders, is very simple.
Is there anything for volume that's not simple?
I mean, pyramids and cones aren't much different. It's just 1/3. The area of the base times the height. Now, the only way we can make this any complex is if we start adding Pythagorean theorem into it. And guess what we're going to do? Yeah. So, now, one thing that some people find challenging, again, and it's happened on surface area as well, is remembering what the base is. For triangular and any other type of prism, the base would be the two identical sides. So it doesn't mean the bottom of the figure. Okay? It just means the two identical sides. So here, this one's really oddly drawn out. Yeah, I don't know why they decided to draw any of it this way. So it's kind of very poorly done here. So let's try this. So here's our triangular prism. Okay. All right. Now, we need to find the area of the base first. Now, the area of a triangle is 1/2 of the base of the triangle times the height of that triangle. So in this case, here we have our triangle. The perpendicular sides would be 7.3. So that's our height. We'll say 1.3 times 7.3. The base would be the 12 because these are identical sides here. So 0.5 times, second quit. 0.5 times 12 times 7.3 is 43.8. Feet squared. Now the height, and don't forget, height is not the same thing as height of the triangle, okay, or height of the base. Height of a prism is the distance between the two bases, and this right here is the distance between the two bases. So in this case, my height is 5. So volume equals area of the base times the height would be 43.8 times 5. So times 5. And we get 219 feet cubed. So try number 5 and 6. Try number 5 and 6. Give you a couple minutes. All right. So for the first one, leave that over there. Again, volume being the area of the base times the height. We have our base as this triangle here. So the area of that base would be 1/2 of 11 times 5.4. So 0.5 times 11 times 5.4 gives you 29.7. The height being the distance between the two bases, 16. So volume equals 29.4 times 16. Sorry, 29.7, not 29.4. So that times 16 is 475.2 millimeters cubed. The next one, since we have a trapezoid, the area of that base is 1/2 the height, which is given to us as 17.9, times the sum of the two parallel sides, the 36 and 14, which 36 and 14 adds together to be 50. So 0.5 times 17.9 times 50, that is 447.5. The height is the distance between the two bases, which happens to be 25. So we multiply our answer by 25. Volume is 447.5 times 25, which is 11,187.5 meters cubed. All right. So number 7 and 8. Again, we got to make this hard somehow. So we're going to add Pythagorean theorem to this. We do not have the base of this right triangle to find the area of the base. So we are going to use the hypotenuse as 32.5. 28 we'll say is A. So since we are finding the leg, we have A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That gives you 28 squared plus B squared equals 32.5 squared. B squared is 32.5 squared minus 28 squared, and we are going to square root that. So B is the square root of 32.5 squared minus 28 squared, which is 16.5. So, area of the base is 1/2 of 16.5 times 28. Which is 231. The height is the distance between the bases, 31. So volume is 231 times 31. Which is 7,161 kilometers cubed. For number 8, we don't have the height between the two parallel sides. So we need to find the height. Given that this is 39.4. Oh, let's do this. Zoom in a bit so we can see this better. Since this side is 39.4, if we find the difference between these, that gives us that this section will be 14.4. The hypotenuse of that triangle will be 30.6. So using that same setup, we could say that B is equal to the square root of 30.6 squared minus 14.4 squared. Gives you 27. So, with that, area of the base is 1/2 the height, which is 27, times the sum of the bases, 25 plus 39.4. Which gives you 869.4. Height, being the distance between the bases, is 35. So volume would be 869.4 times 35, which is 30,429 centimeters cubed. Any questions? I hope you're finding this as simple as I find this boring, because it's so easy. I don't know. I always thought volumes was the most boring topic on here because it's just a formula. You just put it in the formula. That's it. So go ahead and do 9 and 10. 9 and 10 is the same concept. The area of base times the height, but what's the area of the base? What's the area of a circle? Yeah, Justin. Pi r squared. So that's how we get the formula pi r squared times height. So for this, you don't really have to find the area of the base because the area of the base is always pi r squared. So you can just use the formula volume equals pi r squared times height, which in this case is pi times 18 squared times 15. And you can just plug in your calculator. Same thing for number 10. Find the radius first, because they give you diameter, and then plug it in the formula, because the area of the base is pi r squared. Multiply that by height, and you're done. So, second pi times 18 squared, and can't press buttons at the same time, times 15. Gives me 15,268.14 inches cubed. Now for here, since the diameter is 11, the radius is 5.5. So volume equals pi times 5.5 squared times 21. Which is 1995.7 meters cubed. It's still the same concept, area of the base times the height. But since cylinders always have the same base, pi r squared, that's it, pi r squared times height. All right, I'm going to give you a few minutes to try. Read number 11 and 12. Try those two. So I'll give you a few minutes to try those. All right. So number 11, pretty obvious. Find the volume of the triangle first, which, if you, again, I have to zoom in to see. This is a right triangle, so the base and height are both 5. So 1/2 of basically 5 squared, which is 12.5 centimeters cubed. And then we need to find the volume of the sphere. Now, since it says the diameter is 2, the radius would be 1. So pi times 1 squared times 14. I forgot to multiply this by 14, didn't I? Oops. Let me try this again. So 12.5 times 14 gives you your volume. I just found the area of the base. So 12.5 times 14 gives you 175. Here we just get basically 14 pi, which is 43.98. And when we subtract, we get the remaining volume is 128.02. And it's in centimeters, so centimeters cubed. Now the other one, you have to make sure you read the question because they say they're using the diagram. The diagram only gives us the radius. So the volume is pi times 13.5 squared. But how high is he going to fill the pool? Four feet. That is the height, not the 4.5. Okay, so second pi times 13.5 squared times 4 gives you 2,290.22. We're going to divide that by how the rate at which the water flows. So divide by 80. And we get 28.63 hours. And that is it for the notes.